content doesn't convert when it's created for you. Content converts when it's created for your audience. Welcome to the Chingona Revolution podcast, where we will bring out your inner badass Latina, overcome self-doubt, help you gain clarity, and pave your own path, all while leading with courage. I am your host, Latina coach and speaker, Erica Cruz. If you are showing up consistently, posting regularly, and still not landing clients, speaking gigs, or the opportunities you want, then I need you to hear this, because the problem is not your effort, it's not your follower count, and it's definitely not your talent. It's something much more specific. And today I'm going to cover that in this podcast episode. So by the end of this episode, you're going to know exactly what is blocking opportunities from coming your way and how to unblock it. Welcome back to Chingona Revolution podcast. This is your host, Erica Cruz, and today I am pulling back the curtains on why your content is not leading to clients or opportunities. You may be watching other people land the opportunities that you desire, and you're like, okay, what do they have that I don't have? And maybe you've been showing up, you've been putting in the work. I was just talking to a client last week who was like, why isn't this working? I've been posting, I've been consistent. And I was able to look at her account and I saw what the missing gaps were. So today I'm going to tell you what the most common mistakes are that people make and how to fix them to ensure that you aren't posting and praying and just hoping it works, but you're actually posting with intention and you know what works and you know what doesn't work. And trust me, this is coming from somebody who started their business from having a personal brand. I've done brand deals. I've done speaking engagements. I've supported over 350 clients. And I also have gone through periods where it was really difficult for me to sell. So let me actually go ahead and start with that. My content went from being a content creator. So I was showing up as a content creator and then I started a business. And when I started this business and then I had something to sell, I almost went to the other extreme of just selling rather than growing. And this is one of the common mistakes that I see when people once they've decided, okay, I'm going to sell this offer, whether they're a coach or selling a done for you service or whether they're an accountant, like it doesn't matter, whatever they're selling. Once they have their offer that they know they want to sell, then it's really easy to believe we always have to talk about it. And yes, you do have to talk about it, but there is an extreme side where if you talk about it too much, then you're really seen as salesy. And if we think about what the word magnetic means that you draw people to you. And we all know that when somebody's constantly selling, they are not drawing us to them. I was at Trader Joe's the other day and there was people outside that I know wanted me to sign a petition. I had to come back home. I already knew they were trying to sell me something, right? Maybe it wasn't financially, and who knows what it was. It could have just been like, hey, sign this thing. Or, whenever you see people standing outside of the grocery store, I made sure to park on the other side so that when I exited, I didn't have to walk by them. I mean, that is how much I avoided it. And sometimes that is what's happening with our content. We think we need to sell, and we almost give people an experience of, why am I even following this person if all they're doing is trying to sell to me? When we all know that in order for us to buy something, we have to feel like we want it. We have to feel like it's good value, not because somebody keeps telling us to buy it. And I fell into this trap where I was always selling. I was always pitching. Every piece of content had a call to action and an agenda to it. And I was so focused on making a sale that I forgot to make the connection. At the beginning of this year of 2026, I said I am fully committed to creating content again because that is what was supporting me. And I'm creating content because it's fun. And I'm going to get back into being a content creator. I made that decision and it has worked magnificently for me. And yet I stopped selling in every post. I started creating content that was more magnetic, and without a launch, without a campaign, without pitching to every single person, without selling in every post, I ended up making 8 sales and I wasn't even in the middle of an enrollment. 2 people joined my program, Courage Driven Latina, and 6 people joined my personal branding intensive. I sold it out. I had only opened 4 spots, sold it out, opened 2 more spots, sold it out as well. And if you find yourself in that place where you are selling in every single post, learn from my mistakes that people do not want to be sold to. They want to be able to trust you. In order for us to do that, in order for us to be trusted by our ideal client, it's important that we provide a ton of value, and it's not that we offer a little bit of value in a post and then immediately try to make a sale. So in the previous episode, when I aired my training on the magnetic CEO method, I talked about something called magnetic visibility, which is content that is easy and fun to consume for people. It makes them feel seen, heard, and validated. We have to bring a lot more of that type of content into our feed. Let's go on to my next point. Most people think that they're not converting followers because they aren't posting enough, maybe because they don't have enough followers, or they haven't found the right trend or the right audio. But the truth is that content doesn't convert when it's created for you. Content converts when it's created for your audience. So it's not that you need a ton more followers. Of course, if you have no followers at all, yes, you probably need to gain some followers. But let's say that you have a few hundred, you're good to go. I have a client with under 500 followers that ended up landing 9 sales opportunities, 2 podcast interviews, and had a news article written about her, all with under 500 followers. So when I say selfish content, I mean content that is thinking about you, but it's not thinking about the viewer. We constantly have to ask ourselves, what is in this for the person watching the video or the carousel? What is in this for the viewer? Because selfish content may not seem like it's selfish, but it would be something like sharing your day and just saying, today I went here and then I went here, without connecting it to a bigger lesson or to something that your audience might care about. There was a time when I was showing up, I was posting consistently, and I was just watching other people land opportunities and clients. I remember seeing them land speaking engagements, brand deals, collaborations, and all I remember thinking is, I know that I'm also capable of this. So what in the world am I doing wrong? And why is this not happening for me? Because I wasn't just trying to get clients. I also wanted speaking engagements, brand deals, collaborations, in many ways of getting paid. But I didn't want to chase them. I didn't want to slide into people's DMs. I didn't want to constantly pitch myself. So I learned how to do things differently. I learned how to position my personal brand in a way that communicated my value and in a way where opportunities began showing up for me. In other words, I learned how to build a magnetic personal brand. And that is when everything changed. I started landing speaking engagements, brand collaborations, and I started getting a ton of clients simply from my content. And now I've built multiple streams of income from my personal brand without chasing or feeling salesy. And that's exactly what I teach inside my program, Magnetic Mastermind. Magnetic Mastermind is a 6-month mastermind for women creators and entrepreneurs who are ready to turn their personal brand into multiple income streams and paid opportunities. Inside, I'll show you how to create a magnetic brand so you can attract clients, speaking engagements, and collaborations. Doors are officially open right now, so schedule your call with me today. Doors close on May 13th. So if you are ready to stop watching other people land opportunities and start attracting them for yourself, you can use the link in the show notes to schedule that call with me. I'll see you inside. So I'll give you an example. A selfish piece of content is spend the day with me. At 8 a.m., I did yoga, and then at 9 a.m., I did this, and then I went back home, and then I did this. That's an example of selfish content. An example of selfless content would be spend the day with me as a 35-year-old entrepreneur with ADHD who's doing her best to not procrastinate. Let's see how I do. Do you see how that's so different in that if somebody is also an entrepreneur and they're having a hard time, they're like, I want to see, how does she do this? So even though it's still about me and my day, it brings value to the viewer. Anytime you're creating a piece of content, you have to ask yourself, what is in this for the viewer? Why is this interesting to them? Why would they care about this? Anytime the viewer sees a piece of content of yours, they are subconsciously asking themselves, what is in this for me? They don't even realize they're doing it. You do it as well. Whenever you're scrolling, if something is irrelevant, to you or it's not capturing your attention enough, you are going to scroll right past it. A question you can ask yourself is, who is this piece of content for and how do I want them to feel? Another mistake people are making is that they are never selling. So I told you one of the extremes, which is what I was doing. I was selling way too much. But if your goal is to land coaching clients or to let people know that they could book you for speaking engagements, but you never tell them, how in the world would they know that you could hire? So never selling is all about creating beautiful content. Maybe you do have an engaged audience. Maybe you do offer value. Maybe you are creating selfless, valuable, entertaining content, but you never tell them that you are taking clients or that they can work with you, and you never make the ask. And the sweet spot between this is creating magnetic content that builds trust and strategically sells every once in a while. And that is how you aren't going to feel salesy, because you're almost over delivering on the value. And then you're making the ask maybe, 2 or 3 times a week, unless you're in the middle of a big enrollment and there's a deadline, then you have some urgency, but that's a story for a different time. Another mistake people are making is that they are not clear on their ideal client. They're not clear on who they help, and they just have really watered down messaging as a result of that. Here's what I want you to listen to, okay? Pay attention to this part. If you are trying to speak to everybody, then you are speaking to nobody. Watered down messaging sounds something like this. I help women live their best lives. What does that actually mean, right? How many people aren't out there already creating content where they might sound very similar to that? Or I support entrepreneurs in growing their business. This is more general content. Or I work with people who want to reach their goals. Or I work with people who want to make money. Magnetic messaging is a lot more specific. It's all about who you help, what's their age range, what's their gender, what is their interest, what are their pain points, what do they want, what problem do you solve for them, and what result do you create? And if you're like, wait, Erica, but I'm just getting started, just use your younger self. Whoever you were 3 years ago, 5 years ago, perfect. You know yourself better than anybody. Go back and look at your journals. Think back to where you were then. What kind of thoughts did you have? What kind of actions did you take? And leverage that in your content. Because when you are very clear on this, people feel connected to you. They're like, oh my gosh, she gets me. She sees me. She understands. And they're way more likely to work with you or book you for a speaking engagement. Another big mistake I see is that they are still posting graphics. What I mean is little quote cards and things like that. And while the Canva quote cards worked, 4 or 5 years ago, they're definitely not working now. What's happening for people is they're still trying to hide behind graphics, maybe do a faceless account. And if somebody's going to pay you or hire you or have you come speak, they're not going to look at a quote page and think, yeah, this is going to be a great speaker. No. They have to see your face. They have to know you're able to communicate, articulate. And part of this is it's really important that you show proof. In my last training and my last podcast episode where I was talking about my magnetic CEO training, I talked about proof of authority and the importance of showing your results, showing you in the act. If you're a speaker, you need to show clips of you speaking. If you are a content creator, then you need to create content. You need to show your face. You need to have this different proof. If you're a coach, you need client testimonials. Or if you don't have that just yet, you need to talk about the results you've gotten yourself. But you do need to give yourself some form of credibility. That doesn't mean go get 100 certifications, but it does mean you need to be loud about the results you already have and not hide behind graphics. To do this, it's important to share your client wins, to show your expertise in action, document your speaking, post your media features, not because you're bragging. That's usually what blocks people. It's not because you're bragging. It's because you are showing people what is possible when they work with you. And that's really, really important. In summary, when you get your content right, the right people find you and they will binge your content. They will reach out to you. They will refer you. They will hire you. And opportunities will land in your inbox without pitching. Your confidence will grow. You will show up differently. And I want you to remember that the goal is not to post a ton more. I mean, if you're hardly posting, then yeah, maybe post more. But it's about posting with intention. so that every piece of content is working to position you as the obvious choice. So again, in summary, those mistakes that people make is they are selling way too much, that they're overexhausting their audience, and their audience is tired of being sold to. And by the way, it's okay if you sell, but you have to provide a lot of value. You have to have entertaining content. You have to have fun content as well. And then, like I said, sell a few times a week. Another mistake is that people are not thinking about the viewer. They're really creating selfish content about themselves. We have to think about the viewer. Another one is the opposite of the first one, which is never selling, never telling people that you are a speaker, never telling people that they can work with you, never putting yourself out there for brands to have potential brand deals. And the fourth mistake is not being clear on your messaging, just having really watered down messaging, not clear on who you help and how you help them. And it's not landing for people anymore, especially in the world of AI when we have so much information. It's so important for us to be specific. And number 5, the fifth mistake, is that you are still posting graphics and maybe not showing enough proof, hiding behind quotes and different things like that. If this podcast episode has resonated with you and you are ready to make consistent income, if you are ready to attract opportunities simply by the way you show up, I invite you to join me inside of Magnetic Mastermind. The doors are currently open, but they are closing so soon. When this podcast episode airs, our doors will be closing the next day. So go to the link down below, schedule a call with me. In this program, I'm going to support you in creating a magnetic personal brand that attracts 7+ paid opportunities, whether that's speaking engagements, brand deals, dream clients, all without pitching yourself, without cold DMing. And what you get is weekly live coaching calls with me, a private Slack community, a training portal, a media kit template. We do this month called the Abundance Activation. And you also, for the first time ever in this program, you get full access to Courage Driven Latina, which is my content program, completely free whenever you join us inside of Magnetic Mastermind. So do not wait. The doors are open right now and they close on the 13th of May. And this is also the lowest investment this program will ever be. So if you are listening to this podcast episode and you have any ounce of wanting to join us, go to the link down below and you can schedule a call with me, or you can send me a DM if you have any questions. All right, y'all, I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for joining me this week. Make sure to visit theericacruz.com. That's Erica with a K, where you can subscribe to the show so you'll never miss an episode. You can help this podcast grow by supporting me with an Apple Podcast rate and review. If you took anything away from this episode, I invite you to take a screenshot and share it on social media so that your favorite badass Latinas can also check it out. Be sure to tag me at the Erica Cruz. That's Erica with a K, because you know I want to see it. If you're ready to join the revolution and be a part of the Courage Driven Latina community, visit CourageDrivenLatina.com to get more information and join the waitlist. Thanks again, and I'll see you next week.